So today we're going to be comparing the GoPro Hero 11 and the Insta360 X3. Let's go. These seem to be two of the most popular content creation cameras that are out right now. And I've been using both of them. I've been traveling with them. I've been using them in different scenarios. I've checked out all of their features. So we are going to go into what the difference between these two cameras are, what their pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, and who they're for, and really which one you should buy. Let's start off by a quick rundown of the specs of each camera. We'll start with the Hero 11 first. Why not? The Hero 11 can shoot 5.3K resolution video at 60 frames per second. It can shoot 4K at 120 frames per second and 2.7K at super slow motion, 240 frames per second. It comes with a brand new sensor which is larger than previous GoPro sensors. A larger sensor has several advantages, including better low light capture, better stabilization, more aspect ratios, and overall it is the biggest hardware improvement compared to previous GoPro cameras. The max bitrate is pretty high at 120 megabits per second. The video modes include time-lapse, time warp, you can use it as a webcam, you can live stream. You also have some special modes such as star trails, light painting, and vehicle lights. It features the latest GoPro Stabilization Hyper Smooth 5.0, which also includes horizon lock. Now moving on to the Insta360 X3. The X3 can shoot 360 video at 5.7K resolution at 30 frames per second. It can also shoot 360 video at 4K at 60 frames per second. The X3 also has a single lens mode, which allows it to use one of either of these two lenses, non-360 flat video. And it can do this at a resolution of 4K at 30 frames per second or 3.6K at 60 frames per second. The max bitrate is 120 megabits per second. It has many video modes, including HDR video, time-lapse, time shift, bullet time, loop recording, the single lens mode, Me mode, and FOV+. There's also the invisible selfie stick effect, which I will show you later, which is also not possible with any other kind of camera. But if we just take a look at these daytime videos shot with both of these cameras, we can see that there is a quite significant difference in quality. The Hero 11 shooting higher quality, better looking video when we look at these side-by-side comparisons. Now that is because the 5.3K is all crammed into about 200 degrees worth of video. What is also helping is the new larger sensor, which is allowing for better dynamic range as well. I'm really impressed with the GoPro Hero 11 when it comes to quality. With the X3, even though it shoots 5.7K resolution, which is more than the Hero 11, those 5.7K worth of pixels are spread over 360 degrees, which is a lot more. It's more pixels, but spread way more thinly. So this is why the video doesn't look quite as sharp, looks a bit more blurred, looks lower quality. But this isn't really what the Insta360 is really designed for, and it's not its speciality. You're not supposed to get super sharp video with the X3. It's just not really possible with 360 cameras right now. What you can get with the X3 is these amazing shots, which are not possible with a Hero 11. Using invisible selfie stick, which I mentioned earlier, you can get these fake drone effects, you can get these first person effects, you can make it look like the camera is floating in front of you or behind you or to the side. You can shoot everything around you and then decide in the editing process where you want the camera to be pointing, so you can shoot first and point later. The Hero 11, you have to actively point where you want the camera to be looking, so you can miss things. There may be something really exciting happening over here, and by the time you get there, you may miss it. Whereas with the Insta360, all you need to do really is just be holding it, shooting, walking around. You don't need to move the camera around, you don't need to point it anywhere because it's constantly capturing everything around you, and then later in the editing process, you can go and choose where you want the camera to be pointing and export it like that, and it's very easy to do so, and you never miss a thing. Bearing in mind, this is both shooting in daytime fairly good condition. So this is probably the best kind of quality you're going to get out of these cameras. I will say that the Hero 11 also has the 10-bit video option, which allows you to get a lot more colors. You can get near professional quality video out of the Hero 11 if you know how to work with the 10-bit video. It requires some quite professional, quite advanced editing like you would do in Premiere Pro or something like that. For an amateur, I don't think it's going to be really usable, but for professional or slightly more advanced vlogging or content creation, then the Hero 11 is way, way ahead. But I should also mention that the X3 also has a single lens mode I mentioned earlier, where you can shoot flat non-360 video at 4K resolution, which is actually pretty decent. It basically makes the X3 two cameras in one. You can shoot 360 video and normal video, albeit at a lower resolution than the Hero 11. Now, this 4K video compared to the Hero 11, I've done some side-by-side comparisons as well. Again, it's not nearly as good quality. It's not nearly as good. The Hero 11 beats it every single time, but it's a great feature to have for the X3. It's a secondary feature. Again, it's not really what it's built for, but it's there and it makes the camera a two-in-one camera. But an advantage that the X3 does have, which the Hero 11 doesn't, is the active HDR mode, which basically combines, I mean, we all know what HDR is, probably, where you combine several exposures and it increases the quality, usually of photos, not videos. But here it works with the video. And if you're in bright conditions, it really removes anything that's over highlighted, over saturated. Yeah, it really improves the quality of your video and it works even while you're moving. So that is a big plus for the X3. So I think you're probably getting the picture here. In terms of pure video quality, if the quality of the video, as in the resolution, the sharpness, how professional does it look, how clear, how colorful does it look, the Hero 11 is always going to be the winner. It's just going to outperform the X3 every single time. But with the X3, you get way more special effects, you get way more customization, you can be far more creative, and yeah, that is basically the difference between the two. But we will look at some more footage because there are some more things to consider. And here I'm shooting at night with both cameras, and again we can see that the Hero 11 does outperform the X3 once again. Again, the resolution is spread too thinly. The X3 is using fisheye lenses, which are not known to work that great in dark or nighttime conditions. The Hero 11, with its GP2 processor, the fairly large sensor, and the high resolution, performs pretty damn good, even in these more difficult conditions. The Hero 11 also has some interesting night modes, like these vehicle lights setting and the star lapse, the light painting. So it has some modes that are specifically designed for low light video, which I think is really interesting. The X3 does have some night modes. I think it has star trail as well, and in 360 mode that can look amazing. But yeah, nighttime, it's still got all the creativity, but it is going to struggle even more than it does in daylight. For photography, which we should talk about quickly, I mean, neither of these cameras are, you would get them solely to take photos, but they both have some decent photography options. But it's a similar story. Essentially, once again, the Hero 11 outclassing the X3 just in terms of quality, in terms of color and sharpness and all of that stuff, but the X3 allowing much more creativity. 360 photos, again, capturing the whole area. You can create virtual tours with these. You can upload them to Facebook, to Google Maps. And it also has a single lens photo mode, which isn't particularly good, but it's the same story as with the video. What I've shown you so far is mostly just walking around, but what if you wanted to do some action shots like skiing, skateboarding, like riding your bike with these cameras, because they're both designed with that in mind, and they both have awesome stabilization options. Now, this is actually where the X3 comes into its own. The X3 is the better action camera as far as I'm concerned in terms of keeping everything stable and looking amazing and removing any shakes or anything like that. 360 cameras, just by their nature, are amazing at keeping everything stable. Anything that you throw in terms of movement, in terms of action, in terms of stunts at the X3, it's going to be able to handle it. The Hero 11 does also feature probably the best stabilization of any non-360 camera. It can do amazing things considering it has a limited information to work with. But in the most extreme cases, you will still get the kind of wobbling, the shaking. And using the best stabilization setting with the Hero 11, which is the full horizon lock, you lose a lot of quality because it zooms in. It works really well if, as you can see here, this horizon lock basically keeps the horizon stable consistently, but you lose quality. Whereas with the X3, you don't lose any quality with horizon lock or with any kind of stabilization option. Both of these cameras are also fully waterproof, I believe, both up to 10 meters without any case. However, the Hero 11 is definitely the better underwater shooter, not just because of the quality, but because of the type of lens that it has, the type of camera that it is. The 360 element in the X3 doesn't work well underwater. The fisheye lenses kind of get distorted and everything just looks a little bit blurry. Again, you can use a single lens mode, which does work better, but again, it's lower resolution, whereas the Hero 11 working pretty much perfectly underwater. I've not done much underwater shooting myself, but just from what I've seen, I know the X3 doesn't work as well as the Hero 11 underwater. The Insta360 X3 features a very large touch screen on its rectangular candy bar shaped body. It makes it very easy to control. It makes it very easy to change settings, to preview your footage, to watch your footage back. And overall, I find it a very easy camera to use. It also has a couple of manual controls, a shutter button and a menu button as well, and a quick launch button for quickly selecting some pre-saved settings. It's got a rubber texture around the edges and a hardened plastic shell, but the lenses are extremely vulnerable. If you drop the camera and the lens touches the ground, any damage is going to be very visible in the final shots. The Hero 11 is also a very well-designed camera, also featuring a large rear touch screen. The menu system is also very easy to control. An extremely user-friendly camera which does feel very premium in its build quality. I've had no issues with that. Also the front screen allowing you to preview your footage if you wanted to do any kind of selfie or vlogging videos. However, that does drain the battery quite quickly, so if you're not doing that, I recommend turning the front screen off. Right, some other minor differences between the two cameras. The GoPro Hero 11 featuring internal GPS, so you can record height, velocity, all those kind of stats automatically inside the camera, and that can be available to you right from the get-go. For the X3, you can buy an external GPS monitor. It's not inside the camera, it's an external accessory. So the final thing to consider when looking at both of these cameras is the software, as, you know, no matter how good hardware is, it's usually the software that makes it usable, and especially in the case of the Insta360, it's really, really important. But first, let's take a look at GoPro software. Probably the most interesting and useful aspect of the GoPro software suite is the automatic highlights that are sent to your phone after you've shot with your camera. Essentially, when you connect the camera to the phone app, the app will automatically upload your files, select what it thinks is the best parts, put them all together, and basically create a kind of vlog-like video. You can add your own texts, change some effects, some transitions, so overall it's a neat little video creator that happens mostly automatically. Also, if you subscribe to the GoPro, have the GoPro subscription, you get unlimited cloud backups and those automatic uploads, but you do have to subscribe. So that is $49.99 a month. But with that, you also get $200 or pounds or euros off of the camera itself, so it probably is worth it. For the GoPro, there's not that much more to talk about when it comes to software. You also have a desktop editor with some more features, but compared to the Insta360, it's really quite basic. Now, moving on to the Insta360 software, which includes the Insta360 mobile app and the Insta360 Studio. Now, as I mentioned before, editing is literally 80% of the process when it comes to shooting with 360 cameras, and therefore the editing options in the app and the desktop software are immensely more advanced. There's so many more options and a lot more you can do. However, it is much more time consuming and there is a learning curve. But to be honest, once you've played around with the app for an hour or so, you pretty much get used to what you need to do, and there are so many tutorials, not just on my channel, but on other ones as well. The most important part of the Insta360 editing process is the reframing center. Now this is where you take your 360 videos and you control where it's pointing or it's looking at any one time. Now you can do this either by manually moving your phone around and using the gyroscope, or you can manually add keyframes just by swiping around on your touch screen. And by doing this, you can create those first-person effects, third-person effects, do that invisible selfie stick effect, and basically all the kinds of smooth panning motions that you can achieve with these kind of cameras. But also in the app, you have a lot of AI features like an automatic editor, you have automatic special effects. If you go into this shot lab, you can see here all of these effects that you can create, and the tutorials are all there. Basically, you select one, follow the instructions of how to shoot, and then upload those clips into the app, and it will automatically create those for you. Some of them are quite gimmicky, but some of them are actually quite useful. For example, the hyperlapse effect, the time shift, I think those look really awesome, and they're done all automatically in the app. You're also able to color correct in the app, so you can really improve the quality of your videos straight away by adding some saturation or playing around with the highlights and shadows. And finally, the Desktop Studio doesn't have as many options. It doesn't have those effects in that shot lab. But here you can have more control over your reframing, and you can export at a higher quality. If you want the highest quality out of your camera, then doing the reframing in the Desktop Studio is definitely better. It's noticeably higher quality when you export. So overall, the GoPro software is a lot more streamlined, a lot more simpler, but there is far less to do and far less creativity, whereas the Insta360 software can be quite a lot. You do need a powerful phone, you need some patience to learn how to do it all, but there are so many things you can do and so many effects. Honestly, it's just the most comprehensive mobile and desktop editing for any camera that I've ever used. So guys, that is the Insta360 X3 and the GoPro Hero 11. It is essentially a question of, do you want higher quality video, more professional looking, or do you want more creativity? Do you want more control over your videos? Do you want to be able to create some special effects that are not possible? Do you want that invisible selfie stick effect? And the many effects that I've shown you that are really only possible with the Insta360 X3. The Hero 11 is an amazing, amazing camera. I mean, I know I'm a bit biased because in this channel, mostly talk about these kind of cameras, but of course it's the best GoPro because it's the latest, greatest one, but it is quite a jump. There's new video modes, there is the larger sensor, which has made a difference. And overall, apart from the software, which has always been a struggle with GoPro, it's a great device. And you can get near professional quality, which is amazing for a camera of this size. But with the X3, I still am gonna die on this hill that the creativity you can get out of this is just better. It's just more unique. It's more fun. It captures people's attention on social media like TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that. I mean, people have seen the same travel vlogs over and over and over again. So yeah, that's it. If you want more comparisons, you want to see more comparisons, reviews, and guides and tips for all these types of cameras, please subscribe, and I'll be bringing you some more very soon. That's it, guys. See you later. Bye.